Oh boy, this one is freaking crazy, guys. This interview was so damn fun and probably our longest in a very long time.
Without doubt, and most definitely the single guest that has researched us more than we researched them. Like, we were so caught off guard in this interview, it was like hilarious.
It was amazing, and of course we're talking about with the one and only John Papsidera, legendary casting director, worked with Christopher Nolan. Like, they're basically brothers. I mean, that's just what it is. You'll hear it in the interview, but I mean, this guy, we didn't even really touch the surface. We touched like the big stuff, but we didn't like dive deep into it because we just did not have enough time. But this man is going to be coming back on a future date, so stay tuned for that. I mean, let's just talk about everything he's got going out right now. Suicide Squad, The Flight Attendant, Peacemaker. I mean, that's just to name a few. Ghostbusters Afterlife, Paul Rudd. Like, that's just a little bit. That's just a tiny little bit.
Yeah. And I'm guessing we're going to have him back on real soon because rumor has it his brother might have a new project coming, which we're sure he's going to cast. So, I'm for sure going to talk about that one.
Exactly. Well, that interview is later on the show. Now, let's get a little crazy. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm. Holy moly, we're on episode 174 this week.
Yes.
We're super excited. Everything happening in Hollywood, you guys know we are talking about it.
Oh my gosh. Guys, is there going to be a week where we don't talk about something major at Disney?
Right.
Like, Disney is just like, woo, we're going to lead every single week. It's just insane. As insane as the fact that we are 1 week away from our 175th show.
Yeah.
What?
I know, right? It feels like just yesterday we started this half-hour show at McAllister's back room. Like, it was just crazy, man.
How did it ever work at a half hour?
I
don't even
with
know.
Like 7 different people. How did that happen? No one knows, but man, we found our rhythm, and that's what it's all about. You start something, you make some mistakes, you may have some hiccups, but you find your rhythm eventually, and that's what it's all about, man. It's all a learning process.
That's right.
But before we get this thing started, we want to dial it back a little bit. Of course, today that we are recording and that we were putting out this show, it is 9/11. We want to make a memorial statement because 20 years ago today, the attack on the World Trade Center happened.
Yeah, I mean, the worst attack on American soil ever. The second attack on American soil after Pearl Harbor. It was devastating. It was devastating. The towers came down. Of course, there was the field in Pennsylvania where the heroes on the plane, Let's Roll, took that plane down before it could reach its target of the White House. And the Pentagon was hit. Just a lot of lives lost that day. But we want to, thoughts and prayers are with, obviously, the families of everybody who died in the attacks. But that's not it, you guys. I mean, the first responders that ran into those collapsing buildings to try to rescue people, those families lost members too. Those people gave up their lives trying to save other people. And then, of course, the war on terror that started afterwards. So many servicemen and women lost their lives defending the freedom of this country after the terrorist attack. So there's just so much loss based on that 9/11.
Agreed. And I mean, of course, it's being talked about all over today, and I mean, has been this over the past week. But yeah, it's just crazy. Everybody will remember where they were when this happened, and everybody has a story. Even if you weren't in New York City, you have like PTSD from this event, which is it's insane, man. It's super unfortunate.
It really is. And we would be remiss not to mention the other 4 Americans who lost their lives on 9/11, but not 2001, 2012, when U.S. Ambassador, 2 Navy SEALs, and a U.S. Intel specialist lost their lives when the American embassy in Benghazi was attacked on 9/11. We want to remember those two because that was a significant 9/11 attack on U.S. also. So
yeah.
We don't want to forget those.
No.
It's a horrible date in American history, be it 2001, 2012. Americans lost their lives for senseless, ridiculous violence, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
It is. And something else that's really heartbreaking is we lost a talented actor this past week, Michael K. Williams.
Yes.
Everybody's been talking about it all week, all through the social media threads and on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Michael K. Williams, who most memorably portrayed Omar Little in The Wire and Chalky White in Boardwalk Empire, has died at the early age of 54. The New York Police Department confirmed that the actor was found dead inside his Brooklyn residence earlier this week. And apparently, what we've been seeing, there might have been some drug use going on.
Yeah. No official cause of death yet. So, but I guess, the Brooklyn police are saying that there was drug paraphernalia found in the apartment and near the body. So they're on the hunt for the dealers, and we don't know if that was the cause of death. Like I said, nothing official, but it would seem that way.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate. Like we talk about all the time, it's a very dark industry. People get roped in very easily, especially when you are already connected to the streets, which, I mean, I don't know his past and what he was involved with before he became an epic all-star actor, but I mean, being that close to it inside the entertainment industry, like, they're very much intertwined. Like, I mean, they run hand in hand together, so it's super unfortunate.
He escaped that. He was on the streets with gangs and realized that was, he had to get the fuck up out of there, and he was able to escape that life and enter into the life, and so if it is that, it's sad that he was able to get out of it and make a run and then have this happen. It's just, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And it just, pay attention, guys, because I'm sure there were warning signs, and we have to pay attention to addiction and mental health and these type things, because if not, this happens. And so it's terrifying. Yeah, it really is.
It is. Well, it's enough of that sadness and everything that's been in the first 8 minutes of the show. Let's get into some exciting stuff.
Yeah, let's get crazy!
Let's do it! Let's talk about Disney. Everybody knows we love them, besides their fearless leader. As expected, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings made a heroic showing at the box office, where it smashed the record for Labor Day opening with a 4-day haul of $94 million. And posted the second biggest 3-day debut of the pandemic year so far. Behind fellow Marvel Studios pick Black Widow, Shang-Chi brought in the domestic 3-day total to $75.5 million from 4,300 locations. Its global haul is at $131.6 million. Currently on pace easily to win the box office again this week, because there's nothing really coming out.
Yeah, I mean, Malignant, I saw, made like $2 million on Friday. It's expected to only make $5 the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So James Wan might want to stick with the superhero movies.
Yeah, just saying.
just saying. So the real question is, did the better than expected box office of Shang-Chi keep Marvel Studios' next film, Eternals, locked into their planned release date? More important question, did it keep it exclusively in a theatrical release? Because remember, they were thinking, should we maybe put this one on Disney Plus like we did Black Widow? Well, the answer's yes. Definitively yes. Eternals is going to stay exclusive to theaters. But get this, not just Eternals. Apparently, Disney announced that all of its remaining films on the 2021 slate are going to get an exclusive 45-day window theatrical release before moving to any digital platform. Now, that decision is a clear win for Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige, who both internally and externally has been saying from the get-go, Marvel films belong in theaters, not on digital platforms. So he's thrilled about the decision, and as soon as that decision was made, he announced dates. He locked down dates for Marvel movies in 2024. He's like, okay, good, no more of this bullshit digital stuff. It's all theaters, and we're going to take these dates. So he was extremely happy. I don't know what else to say. I mean, and they put out this ridiculous statement saying, with the huge success of our summer movies at the box office, it only makes sense that we should, return all of our movies to the box office. Well, you should have fucking done that with Black Widow, first of all. And I'm just going to say it. With this decision, Scarlett Johansson and her lawyers have got to be fucking jumping up and down in joy and celebrating, because this all but gives legitimacy and validates her claims in her lawsuit that had it gotten the 45-day exclusive window, it would have fucking creamed at the box office, much bigger than it did. I mean, look at all the rest. Free Guy, Shang-Chi, they're all killing it at the box office because they were exclusive. It's time to cut her the check, guys. You fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
And this proves it. I don't know what else to say.
Exactly. I mean, if you prolong this thing and actually go to trial, it's not going to end well.
No.
I feel like it's really not. I mean, there's so much evidence that sways her way. So I feel like either you settle or you're going to pay out even bigger bucks in actual court.
And
so
just settle, bro. We ran a poll about whether people thought Chapek was doing a good job or if Disney made a mistake. 87% of the people said that Disney fucked up by making him CEO.
Yeah.
That should tell you everything about settle this now, move on, get past it. Because, like Logan said, if you prolong this thing, you are just, I don't even know.
It's bad. It's bad. Well, some exciting news and a big cast coming to the Haunted Mansion reboot. And the latest cast members being attached are Rosario Dawson to join Lakeith Stanfield and Tiffany Haddish, but also freaking Owen Wilson to join this thing. That will begin shooting next month. It's super exciting because, I mean, everybody is so interested to see how this reboot is going to do. And I think with this cast, I don't think they can fail, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm totally down with all the cast members except for Tiffany Haddish. I'm just not a fan of Tiffany, but I'm really hoping that can turn around and that she can kind of... I saw, too, she's playing Flojo, Florence Griffith Joyner, so I guess she's going to try to take a serious turn at some point.
Well, did you see the one that she has coming out with Oscar Isaac?
Mm-mm.
Oh, man, it's super deep. Like, it's super, like, hardcore drama. So, I mean... But, to be fair... Personally, I haven't seen a lot of her movie content, and I mean, have you?
Yeah, I haven't been a fan. But that's not to say maybe she's not a great dramatic actor. I'm just not a fan of her comedy. I don't know. I haven't clicked with her yet. I'm sure she's wonderful, and I'm hoping that she does really well with the dramatic stuff. I mean, that'd be awesome. Mm-hmm. And that's just my opinion. She's probably just. I mean, I'm sure she's got a huge fan base. I mean, we know she does. So, Abigail Spencer. I know you're super pumped about this one, and I love old Abigail Spencer. Scotty from Suits, who doesn't love her? She played Megan Hunt on Grey's Anatomy, as you guys know. Well, she's returning to the ABC medical drama in a recurring role for its upcoming 18th and we hope final season. According to representatives from ABC, Spencer's Megan will first appear in the season premiere of Grey's Anatomy on September 30th, which is right around the corner, honestly. Spencer is one of several actors returning to Grey's this season. As we told you, Kate Walsh last week as Addison is coming back, and Kate Burton as Ellis Grey. I can't even...
Words. What are words?
As the mom.
Yes.
Yes, I can't even. More coffee, please.
Yeah, right.
So I know that's exciting. I just think that really they're hinting at, with all these people coming back, it's got to be the final season.
Right, and I mean, they released a teaser trailer for the season opener as well, and Abigail is in the first episode. So I wouldn't be surprised if old boy, her husband there, who also had a little thing with Meredith, come back as well. But, I mean, he's in Virgin River right now.
Yeah,
so
and maybe not. They had a little release of the casting thing, and it said her and the son, and no mention of him.
That makes sense.
So yeah, for the casting thing, at least in the casting, they didn't mention bringing him back. So what happened?
Yeah, right. We'll see. We'll see. Dancing with the Stars announced its lineup for its upcoming 30th season. Those vying for the Mirrorball Trophy are The Bachelor's Matt Smith, Olivia Jade, who is best known for her parents, Full House actress Lori Loughlin. Yeah, get it, guys. I mean, it's literally the child who is involved in the college scandal. How
is she a star?
How is she a star? Real Housewives of Atlanta star Kenya Moore, Beverly Hills 90210 alumnus Brian Austin Green, Spice Girls singer Mel C. Olympian Shuni Lee, pro wrestler Mike The Miz, talk show host Amanda Klutz, Peloton instructor Cody Rigsby, The Office actress Mallory Hardin, basketball star Imani Shepard, Cobra Kai actor Martin Cove, and Bling Empire reality star Christine Cho, singer Jimmy Allen, and between the super YouTube star / dance mom star JoJo Siwa. So I mean, there's a lot of people that are pretty relevant right now that are going to be attached to Dancing with the Stars, which is kind of surprising because normally they have one person that's relevant and then a person that hasn't been relevant in 2 or 3 years. But so, I still don't think it's doing the best in the ratings, so it's going to be interesting to see how many more seasons ABC is going to give this thing. I'm putting max 3 to 5. 3 to 5 more seasons, if that.
If the fans have their way, I don't even think it's going to see that. Yeah. Tom Bergeron announced apparently that he's doing something at NBC. He very cryptically said it. And the fans were like, oh my God, we're so happy you're coming back to TV. We just want you back on Dancing. And he's like, well, I'm sorry, that was 2 years ago, and I've dropped the A and replaced it with an N, and I promise big things coming. So whatever that means, but if you're a big Tom Bergeron fan, NBC is apparently the place where he's headed.
Check it out.
Disney, no surprise here, is raising prices on Hulu's baseline video-on-demand streaming packages next month as the Mouse House seeks to push customers towards the three-way Disney bundle and Hulu's live TV packages. Hulu began notifying subscribers this week that the price of Hulu's 2 on-demand plans with ads and without commercials will both increase by $1 for both current and new subscribers. Hulu ads will increase from $5.99 to $6.99 per month, and Hulu with no ads is going to increase from $11.99 to $12.99. Now, the changes do not affect the pricing of the Disney bundle, which will remain at $13.99 a month, and that includes Hulu with ads, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus. Now, I like that in this statement, they didn't try to hide what they were doing. They're literally raising prices to try to get you to get the bundle. And that's smart.
It makes sense. I mean, it's a good bundle, and it's worth the money. Disney Plus alone is worth the $13.99 a month, to be honest with you. But I'm glad they did this, and was also surprised before reading the article because I was like, what the fuck? They just raised the bundle 2 months ago to the $13.99. But I love that it's a marketing scheme, and I mean, that's what you have to do sometimes. But like I said, I'm okay with this decision because it's worth the money.
I am too. And if you don't want to pay the extra $1, just jump to the package. It's a better deal.
It is. It really is. ESPN announced that it will be working with pop icon, super fashion phenomena, Champagne Papi himself, Drake, throughout the entire NFL season to curate music for select Monday Night Football games. According to the announcement, ESPN has collaborated with Drake to choose music that escalates both the energy and the mood of the games. The music will be a combination of Drake's most recent releases, potentially some classics, as well as new music from other artists he identifies, all which will run in the Monday Night Football promotional spots, live telecast, and pre-game shows for 10 games this season starting this upcoming week. So that's very exciting because, like I said, he's the most popular musician out there right now, so by no surprise, give the man more popularity. So he deserves all the business that's coming to him.
We could have totally used some Drake music during that Thursday night game. That was a hell of a game between the Bucks and the Cowboys. That could have used a little pom pom.
Yeah, right.
That would have been badass.
Exactly.
And at the top of the show, J-Lo was talking about finding your rhythm. Well, Miss Rhythm Nation herself, Janet Jackson, dropped the first teaser for her upcoming Lifetime and AE documentary, Janet. Yeah. It's set to premiere January. This sounds really awesome, guys. The 2-night, 4-hour documentary follows Jackson's personal life and her 40-plus year career and will include never-before-seen home videos and archival footage. She also will detail her return to the world stage following the sudden break from music, her controversial Super Bowl appearance with JT in 2004, the death of her brother Michael, and becoming a mother later in life. Janet also features commentary from family, friends, and admirers, including Mariah Carey, Missy Elliott, Tito Jackson, and Paula Abdul, who, by the way, was her choreographer, if you guys are unfamiliar with that. That's what really started her singing career, among others. And the premiere coincides with the 40th anniversary of her self-titled debut album, which debuted in 1982, for anybody who couldn't figure out the math.
There you go.
There you go.
It's very interesting because I've never really personally been like a huge listener to Janet Jackson. Nothing wrong with her. I just never did. But I always feel bad for her because she always has like these multiple things following her throughout her whole career.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely. You're Michael's sister. Oh my gosh, let's talk about that. Oh, this thing that happened with Justin Timberlake during the Super Bowl. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Oh, you became a mom at the age of 50. Let's talk about that. Hey, can we just talk about my music and like the positivity that I give the world? Like, you know.
And you know what they don't talk nearly enough about? Her acting.
Yeah.
She's a phenomenal actress, guys. Way back to the 70s when she was itty bitty, she was on Good Times, and she was literally playing a child that was being abused by her mother, fucking burnt with irons and shit. Then she was on Different Strokes as the girlfriend, and fucking Poetic Justice.
Justice.
Yeah,
Tupac.
With Tupac. I mean, she's a phenomenal actress. I'd really like to see her swing back that way and do some more of that.
I thought you were going to say you want to sing her a song. I
No,
was like,
no.
don't do it, bro. Don't do it.
No, I'm not going to sing her a song because I'm singing this song for you.
Oh my
no.
goodness,
Anyway.
so funny. Heading over to Fox, Susan Sarandon, Anna Farrell, and Trace Atkins, country star Trace Atkins.
He's leaving all the lights on for you.
All right, have been cast in the upcoming Fox country music drama series Monarch. In the series, Texas truth teller and reigning king of country music, Albie Ronan, played by Trace, along with an insanely talented but tough as nails wife, Dottie Cantrell Roman, who's played by Sarandon, have created a country music dynasty. But even though the Roman name is symbolizes authenticity and very foundation of their success, it's all a lie. And when their reign of country royalty is put in jeopardy, heir to the crown Nikki Roman, who's played by Farrell, will stop at nothing to protect her family's legacy, while ensuring her own quest for stardom. Monarch will debut mid-season for Fox on January 30th, immediately after the NFC Championship game, with the show's second episode airing February 1st. This sounds very interesting, and I don't know if he's a good actor, so this is gonna be very interesting.
Well, I'm just gonna call it. This is a complete and total ripoff of Nashville. Complete and total about the superstar, singer that was aging and threatened by the young up and comer that was trying to take her glory and take her spot. I mean, it sounds exactly fucking like it. I mean, I don't know, like just bring back Nashville.
Yeah,
I don't even know why you're gonna. I mean, at least do something fucking original.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly. In the time of reboots, we all do the reboots.
That's right. And speaking of, or at least revival, apparently Fox Entertainment President Michael Thorne confirmed that there are currently active creative discussions about bringing back classic Kiefer Sutherland-fronted terrorism drama series 24. Ooh, but with a new take. Okay, I don't know how you do that, but okay. Thorne's comments echo recent words from 24 executive producer Howard Gordon, who said in a recent interview that in a new take and a way, the series is always percolating. Gordon said he loves the character, but cautioned it's not official, sort of, unlike I think all the pieces are coming together. We'll kind of let you know. What?
Right.
Okay, but I mean, okay, fair enough. They're working on it, but they don't know, and they'll let us know when they know.
Exactly.
Okay.
Whatever, man. Whatever. This next one, hopping over to the bunny. Jason Momoa took to Instagram this week to reveal the new Aquaman suit for the upcoming superhero sequel, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. In addition to the classic Aquaman costume we've seen in the first film, Momoa posted the first look at his character's so-called stealth suit.
Yes.
The skin-tight metallic suit features hints of dark blue in addition to gray detailing on his arms and thighs. Aquaman The Lost Kingdom is scheduled to release December 16th of 2022. The DC sequel was pitched to Warner Brothers by star Momoa during the filming of the first movie, which was released back in 2018, and I have to say, I'm not a fan. I'm just saying, this is already a dark series. I love that they brighten things up a little bit, at least with the fucking costumes, and then you're gonna make it dark again. I'm just,
I don't know. I think this is supposed to be the movie version of his blue and white costume when he briefly switched that, which looked badass in the comic books, but I don't see any.
Where's the white?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
This is like underwater Batman.
Yeah,
like this is what it looks like. It's not good.
But maybe we'll see the white when it like lights up or something. I don't know.
You're
but
giving
I
them
think,
too much credit.
I think that's what it's supposed to be, is the version of that costume.
It's trash.
So I don't know. We'll see.
It's trash. Bring back the yellow and green.
Hey, it doesn't. It didn't matter anyway because it was overshadowed quickly
Very
when
quickly.
Warner Brothers also released the first look at The Matrix Resurrections. The fourth installment in the sci-fi film franchise sees the return of Keanu Reeves as Neo and Carrie-Anne Moss as Trinity, though neither remembers each other or their pasts. The nearly 3-minute long trailer, scored, by the way, brilliantly scored to Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit, features striking action sequences and teases Neo's transformation into his former self as a shot of blue pills spill into the sink. Now, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, speaking of Aquaman, right, too, appears embodying a character who looks a lot like a younger version of Morpheus, telling Neo it's time to fly before handing him a red pill that allows him to realize his reality is a facade. The Matrix Resurrections hits theaters and HBO Max December 22nd. And by the way, he did confirm he is, in fact, a young Morpheus.
There we go.
So, there you go.
We were all wondering. I think Lawrence Fishburne put out an article about why he wasn't in it. I haven't read it yet, so I have no idea. There's so many questions from this trailer, though. I mean, if you guys have not seen it, like, I don't know, man. It's like pre-Matrix 1 kind of, but also post-Matrix 1 at the same time. So you have to watch it to see, like he said in the description, they don't remember any of that stuff. Neo thinks it was all just a dream. So yeah,
but Neil Patrick Harris as a psychiatrist is brilliant.
Love it.
I mean, you know that I'd watch it for that alone. Like, okay,
exactly. This one I'm kind of surprised about. Heading over to the next story, Furosia, is that what it is?
Yep.
George Miller's prequel to Mad Max: Fury Road won't hit the screens until 2024. The hugely ambitious action film was originally scheduled for June 23rd of 2023. Instead, it will hit the screens Memorial Day weekend of 2024. The cast includes Anya Taylor-Joy, Chris Hemsworth, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
That guy's everywhere.
Everywhere, man. He deserves it, too, because
does.
we watched him on The Get Down. Like, this guy is super talented.
Hell yeah.
Taylor-Joy will take the role of the Emperor Furosia in the part played by memorable Charlize Theron in Fury Road, which I don't know. I don't know why they're making another. I'm not a Mad Max fan. That should have went on my top 5 last week. I'm not a Mad Max fan, so I mean, I just don't understand why we keep. Well, and it goes back to why are we making so many universes out of stuff that doesn't need universes?
Yeah.
So these characters don't deserve their own films. I'm just saying.
Tina Turner was badass in Thunderdome, though. I'm just gonna say it, but I didn't like the movies either.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of them either.
No.
Warner Brothers also announced that Salem's Lot, the studio's upcoming adaptation of Stephen King's best-selling novel about vampires, will open September 9th, 2022. Now, that one stars Elfrey Woodard, Lewis Pullman, Mackenzie Lee, Bill Camp, Spencer Treat Clark, and William Sadler. So, just in case you were wondering, they're flip-flopping them all around, so Salem's Lot is now coming in.
They really are. Warner Brothers is staying busy, man. They're trying to stay on track as with theatrical and HBO Max. Loosely, Bart has been cast in the new Charmed 1 in the CW's hit reboot of Charmed, starring Melanie Diaz, Sarah Jeffrey, Rupert Evans, and Jordan Donica. New showrunners Jeffrey Lieber and Nikki Reyna and Joey Falco have been revealed as Bart's character is an artist with a wild, unpredictable love for life and one-of-a-kind view of the world that serves her well in her art, which is her life's passion, obviously. She's fun, impulsive, strong-willed, and will bring brand new energy to the Power of 3. However, the three execs noted in a statement that they will not be unveiling her name, backstory, powers, or connection to Diaz and Jeffrey's character, Mel and Maggie, respectively, just yet. So they're trying to leave a little bit of mystery out there.
Oh.
But, I mean,
So
another one. Maybe it was just past my time. I never got into Charmed either. Were you into Charmed?
I mean, a total huge crush on Alyssa Milano, so yes.
So, yes. I mean, it makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And huge fan of Holly Marie Combs, so yeah, I was a huge fan of Charmed.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. And now, in a story that surprises absolutely nobody, HBO Max has renewed the new Gossip Girl revival for a second season, proclaiming record viewership over its first weekend on the platform. The 12-episode first season has been broken up into 2 parts, and its second 6 episodes roll out in November. Using vague language typical of streaming services, HBO Max called Gossip Girl its best launch for a Max original drama series this year. In the renewal announcement, the renewal also touted Gossip Girl as a social media phenomenon. The series had 15 billion with a B, total social impressions at the launch, and the series gained around 5.2 billion impressions from content inspired by the series on TikTok.
That makes sense. I mean, when that thing dropped, it was literally the only thing we saw on our feeds. It was crazy, and it's super surprising because, like we said, why is it happening? Is it necessary? But apparently it is necessary. Apparently a lot of people like it, and, good for them.
And
I'm glad they have more content.
Maybe it'll spawn superstardom for the people on there like it did for the first one. I mean, Blake Lively and Leighton Meister, just blew up after being on that show. So, I mean, who knows?
Very interesting. This next one, I'm very interested to see how it continues to move forward and what Brian Robbins is going to do at Viacom CBS.
This is a huge shocker.
Yeah. Jim Giannopoulos is leaving Paramount as well as chairman and CEO, according to a report in the Wall Street Journal. Like I said, Brian Robbins is the head of Viacom Inc.'s Nickelodeon Kids TV empire, which he built pretty well the past 5 years, I believe. Will take over.
No. He just took that over, remember? From we reported that a couple weeks ago. They just handed that to him after Dan Schneider did the whole exit.
No, well, he's been involved with Paramount since 5 years ago. Will take over Giannopoulos' position as the head of Paramount Pictures. There had been rumors about Giannopoulos for some time, and the world was it had to do with his emphasis on filmmaker relationships and his revisions for a theatrical release. Word was that Sherry Redstone wasn't thrilled with the move of Top Gun Maverick from November 19th to Memorial Day weekend of 2022 that we told you about last week, and the Mission Impossible from Memorial Day to September 30th of 2022 that we also told you about last week. Robbins, who leadership views has bright and progressive executive experience, will likely lead Paramount to greater emphasis on product for its streaming service. Basically, it sounds like he is Redstone's lapdog. I mean, basically. I mean, Jim's not going to do what I want him to do, so I'm going to put somebody else who will do what I want to do.
Yeah, the guy has, progressed, like you said, for over 5 years quickly. This is his 3rd promotion in, less than a year.
Right?
Boom, boom, boom. And it was clear. I mean, Sherry Redstone said she didn't like that Giannopoulos wanted things all in the theaters. She didn't like that he moved the shit to a later point where he thought it would do better theatrically. And clearly Robbins is on board for shifting everything to Paramount Plus. So, yeah, like you said, lapdog.
Exactly.
And I like Brian Robbins. I've been a fan of him ever since way back when he was an actor on Head of the Class. I mean, Smallville, he was responsible for Smallville with his producing partner. I mean, he's done a ton of great stuff, but this is unfortunate. I like Giannopoulos. What's really going to be is where's Giannopoulos going to show up?
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be surprised. He's got a really good relationship with Netflix, so I wouldn't be surprised if he bounces over there. If y'all watch the Hollywood Round Table with studio heads, man, oh man, they talk about how Jim and the Netflix head over there, not Ted, I forget who the other guy was that was there on that table, but
Scott Stuber.
They talked about how they work together a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised if he lands over there.
Yeah, I mean, and That'd be great. That'd be great.
I think so too.
Steve Howie, you guys know him from Shameless, has been cast in one of the lead roles in the CBS drama pilot based on the movie True Lies. We're finally getting some info about this. We've been talking about this for a while. Howie will star as Harry, the role played in the film by Arnold Schwarzenegger. The character is described as a benign, play-it-safe, seemingly risk-average computer salesman and devoted family man, married with 2 kids. But in reality, much like in the movie, Harry's an undercover operative, a first-class spy working for a covert U.S. intelligence organization. Now, also like in the film, Harry's unfulfilled suburban wife is propelled into the life of danger and adventure when she's recruited to work alongside him to save the world as they try to revitalize their passionless marriage. The wife role, which was played by Jamie Lee Curtis in that fantastic little striptease dance, which one of the most memorable things in the movie, has yet to be cast. So I don't know who's going to get it, but it sounds like it's going to be Evan. They should just have it be Shinola.
Yeah, right.
They're fantastic together on Shameless. They'd be great as this.
Exactly. The chemistry's already there,
Yeah.
so it only makes sense.
And she totally knows how to climb up on him and like do all the kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, go back and listen to that interview that we had her on the show. It was absolutely hilarious. CBS also announced that Big Brother Celebrity Edition has been renewed for the 3rd season, and it's going to premiere in February of 2022. Season 3 will once again be hosted by Julie Chen Moonves. Remember Moonves?
Stand by your man.
And featured to be announced group of celebrities living together in a Big Brother house where they will be filmed 24/7, which viewers can watch via the live feeds on Paramount Plus to compete for a grand prize. I don't understand the phenomena of this type of show. I was never a fan of like The Real World or like Jersey Shore or any of the shows that were like reality TV, just watching these people go out and do things. Why? I don't understand. But I mean, it's kind of like a backhanded thing because I like the Kardashians, so it's different. So I don't know, but I mean, whatever.
Well, then throw the Kardashians in the Big Brother house. At
Yeah,
least that would be more entertaining.
That would be
then
entertaining.
it would be, I guess, celebrity. Like these, sometimes the people they put in here is like it's like Dancing with the Stars. It's like really.
Yeah, Lori Laughlin's daughter's also going to be in this one too.
The other one. She's got that second daughter. Maybe the other one will be over here.
Facts.
Like, you know, they got to both do them.
Exactly.
Now, I am excited about this one, though. CBS has set a pilot production commitment for The Never Game, which stars Justin Hartley. Because we all know This Is Us is wrapping up, a definitive end, right?
Facts.
So they all got to start looking for the future. Well, The Never Game is also going to be, he's also going to executive produce it alongside Ken Olin, who's the main director on This Is Us, so they're going to keep that relationship going, and Michael Cooney. The series, which is based on the 2019 novel of the same title by Jeffrey Deaver, features Hartley as a lone wolf survivalist named Coulter Shaw, who uses his expert tracking skills to help private citizens and law enforcement alike solve a number of mysteries. Meanwhile, he has to deal with his own fractured family.
Oh.
Anything with Justin Hartley is going to be good.
Agreed.
I mean, this guy should be... I don't understand how he's not winning as many Emmys as Sterling K. Like the whole... Just, they all deserve them.
All of them.
All of them
Seriously.
deserve them.
And Milo. And like, just...
Yeah,
They're
like-
amazing. They are absolutely amazing. CBS also announced that Usher, Priyanka Chopra Jonas, and Julianne Hough will host The Activists. The show is a competition series that features 6 inspiring activists teamed with 3 high-profile public figures working together to bring meaningful change to one of the 3 vitally important world causes: health, education, and environment, while also giving every viewer the opportunity to be a part of the solution, which means donating. It's very interesting. It kind of reminds me of like a Big Brother meets a telethon, basically.
I mean, at least it's original.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. At least it's an original idea. So, I mean...
Exactly.
I don't know. Maybe one season.
Yeah, like I said.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, super pumped about this one. As you guys know, Star Trek Day was the other day earlier this week, right? Well, during Star Trek Day, they had this huge, big conference, Star Trek conference, where Paramount announced basically everything Star Trek that was going on.
Yes.
And they announced that Picard has already been renewed for Season 3 on Paramount+. The news comes on Star Trek Day and ahead of the show's Season 2 debut, which starts in February. The 10-episode Season 2, as we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, will see Picard and his crewmates view a totalitarian future created by Q. And he must use the Borg Queen, which we all know that relationship with Picard and the Borg Queen, not so good, but he's going to use her anyway to leap back to 21st century Los Angeles, like to our time right now, which is awesome, to make things right. Season 3 is expected to hit the streamer in early 2023. Now, if you guys saw, we were asking, like, what's your favorite Star Trek series, what you think? And my movie is Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, which also was time travel back to the current day. So that's kind of interesting that they're going to do that storyline where they come back to the current day again. That's going to be awesome.
That's really cool. And I mean, obviously, your second is Wrath of Khan.
Yes.
But, you know, like I tweeted on social media, I mean, Lower Decks, obviously, because I felt like this is a good introduction for myself who hasn't really been, like, super into the Star Trek. And I mean, you guys know I love animation and adult comedy. But I'm excited to start this new venture. Like I said, I've watched the first 2 films. The latest one with Chris Pine. Wasn't really paying attention, so I need to go back and rewatch those. But like I said, it's just another universe to get involved with. And I really want to watch Picard because I'm a huge Sir fan. What's his name? Patrick Stewart.
Yes.
So, you know, I'm excited. Matt Balmer is attached to star and executive produce a series adaptation of Thomas Malone's novel Fellow Travelers that is currently in development at Showtime. Fellow Travelers is described as a political thriller and epic story that unfolds in an era of McCarthyism and revolves around the age of AIDS. It follows the interviewed lives of romances of 2 very different men, Hawkins Hawk Fuller, who's played by Matt, and Tim Kovacs through the purges, wars, protest, and plagues, overcoming obstacles in the world and in themselves. This is going to be deep as fuck.
Yeah. This is the beauty, though, of, I guess, the streamers, right? Because you just come in, you film, you knock out all of the episodes at one time, right? Then you're able to film other things. Because as we know, he's a regular on Doom Patrol. So, I mean, you know, but this allows them to do that kind of stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
And I love him, man. He's a great actor.
He is.
Okay, let's jump over to NBC Universal. Universal's upcoming film Halloween Kills. And maybe they didn't pay attention to the whole Warner Brothers thing that did not go over well, because apparently Universal has decided that Halloween Kills will debut on Peacock on the same day as it's released in the theaters. Halloween Kills is scheduled to debut on October 15th and will be available to Peacock Premium subscribers at no extra fee.
I know. It's such a double-edged sword. It really is. Like, I understand you want the people who are still afraid and still weary about going out to the theaters to see your film. Understandable. And who the fuck knows if theaters are going to ever shut down again. Hopefully not. But, you know, with Delta out there, so we're terrified. But at the same time, just look at HBO Max. Yes, it's a Band-Aid. That's all it is. And right now, there is no Band-Aid, especially October 15th. There's really no Band-Aid. The theatrical releases are still live and well, still out there booming. So just release it in the theater. I don't think this is a good idea. I thought it was a good idea when mid-pandemic, when literally everything was shut down and you could not go to a theater. But this is, I think, idiotic.
And even with that, right? Because like you said, what other choice did they have at that point? But they lost creators.
They did.
A ton of creators were pissed off and said they're just never going to work with Warner Brothers again. We've got a story about that coming up. And now we're seeing it with Disney. The Russo brothers say they don't want to work with Marvel anymore because of the whole fiasco and like all this kind of stuff. Learn from that. You don't want to lose your creators because of these stupid decisions, man. I just think that's a bad idea.
I agree.
You next.
Oh, well, former Doctor Who star David Tennant is set to headline Hyde, a drama series in development at the Peacock. Tennant is attached to star and executive produce alongside his wife, Georgia Tennant. The story follows a disgraced journalist who stumbles upon a story that could resurrect his career. But he quickly learns that he's seen something that he shouldn't have, and now the target is of an unknown adversary who will do anything to silence him. On the run as people around him go missing and or die, the serious accident has extraordinary side effects, and he realizes that the monsters in the world, and he may be one of them.
So it's a Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah,
basically.
If you didn't get that, yeah, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. We could use another Jekyll and Hyde. Why not? Hey, good news because of the success of Marvel's Shang-Chi, obviously, and Black Widow. Sony has moved up Venom Let There Be Carnage 2 weeks to October 1st from its previous date of October 15th. The move comes, like I said, on the heels of the strong performance of fellow comic book films Shang-Chi and Black Widow from Marvel Studios. So that's the good news, but I know you're pissed off because we also saw that it's like only an hour and a half.
Literally 90 minutes. What the fuck, guys? Sony, you're not doing this shit right. Are you not paying attention to your other Marvel properties that belong to Disney who are doing it right? I'm just fucking saying.
You can't tell that story in an hour and a half.
You can't. We're so excited for this epic fucking battle, and an hour and a half, it's going to be so disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm dreading it. I'm excited and dreading it at the same time. That sucks, man. Everybody's been waiting to see Carnage on the big screen for like ever. Just like Deadpool. Everybody's waiting to see Deadpool on the big screen. But now you might ruin it. You might Howard the Duck that shit. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm putting that out there. But with Jeopardy in a host vacuum following the botched search for a successor of the beloved Alex Trebek, Sony Pictures has locked down the host of its other hugely popular, profited syndicated game show, Wheel of Fortune. Pat Sajak and Vanna White have signed on to continue their hosting deal throughout the 2023-2024 season. As part of the deal, Sajak has added consulting producer to his responsibilities. Ooh. Give me more in my check, he says. Give me more.
That's right. Okay, Pat Sajak, man. He's been around forever.
Really?
Okay, jump into Lionsgate with awesome fucking news. We reported about this a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, that this was a possibility, that it might happen. Well, now it's confirmed. It's official. Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, which was canceled as a series last spring by NBC, will return as a Christmas-themed feature film streaming on the Roku channel this holiday season. Production on Zoe's Extraordinary Christmas will start in Vancouver this month, with Lionsgate remaining on board as the studio. All the cast members, Jane Levy, Skylar Austin, Alex Newell, John Clarence Stewart, Andrew Leeds, Alice Lee, Michael Thomas Grant, Kapal Talawalkar, David St. Louis, Mary Steenburgen, and even Peter Gallagher, Bernadette Peters, are all returning. Story-wise, the film picks up exactly where it left off on season 2. According to the official announcement, the film will stream for free on ad-supported Roku channel in the U.S. Along with the film, all 25 episodes of the series will also stream on Roku channel in the U.S. later this fall. It's the first Roku original film and also the first scripted project outside of the pool of shows that they got from Quibi. I am so excited about this, especially because a bunch of those people we named are our former guests.
Yes.
We love this show. We love these people, and I could not be more happy that it's coming back, because if you guys are fans like we are and you saw how it ended, you're like, no, what the fuck? We need an explanation, and now we're going to get it.
There's so much, man. There's so much. And I got to say, this is kind of off point, but kind of on the point at the same time. It's like 30% of the point. I watched like the Hunger Games, like ad supported, I think on Amazon Prime, and I gotta say, I honestly don't mind having that like little commercial breaks in the middle of the films. I don't know why. Maybe it's just like with being at home, you're more tempted to like get up and go to the bathroom or like look at your phone more often, but like with it being an ad-supported film, breaking it up like that, it gives you more reason to wait to get on your phone and go to the bathroom. So, I mean, it's very interesting. I noticed that, like I said, when I was watching this. So, just throwing my 2 cents out there about that. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Omar Epps and Michael Ealy have teamed up for Lionsgate's upcoming thriller, The Devil You Know.
Ooh.
The film follows Marcus Cohens, who's played by Omar, after a lifetime of trouble, finally has a chance to turn things around with the love and support of his family. But when Marcus discovers one of the 3 brothers might be involved in a home invasion, he finds himself not only at odds with his brothers, but also in the crosshairs of a cop who is played by Mike Ealy, who is deeply involved with his last case before he retires. As Marcus tries to do the right thing by his family, he finds himself spiraling back into the dark place his family helped him overcome, but who's also put him there again. Like, he's trying to help his family get out of this spiral, but he's also coming out of a bad place, but then his family puts him back in the bad place. What? That's a lot freaking happening. No matter what, I feel like if you break the law, I don't care if you're my brother, you're my wife, you're my whatever, I'm going to have to turn you in. I'm not being an accessory. I'm sorry. That's just what's going to happen. If you hit a guy and, fucking drove off, I'm telling on you. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm not an accessory. Have y'all watched Dead to Me? I would have told on that bitch. Linda Cardinelli, it's crazy. Man, she's crazy.
So he supports ads and supports law enforcement.
It's true.
It's good. We just learned 2 things.
You're learning so much this week.
Now, jumping over to Netflix, and I'm telling you, we just talked about it with Roku, boy. Everybody is cleaning up and scoring on NBC's cancellation fuck-ups.
Facts.
Netflixing it. It's fixing it. Netflix and Warner Brothers Television have secured all the manifest cast members for the upcoming supersized 20-episode 4th and final season of the Missing Plane drama. Series regulars Parveen Kaur, Luna Blaze, and Holly Taylor have closed deals to return for the new season, joining the already signed Josh Dallas, Melissa Roxburgh, J.R. Ramirez, who completed their negotiations on the eve of the actual announcement on 8/28. Now, this is interesting. Additionally, Ty Doran, who guest starred as an older version of Kale, spoilers if you haven't caught up yet, Cal Stone, is one of the big twists during the season 3 finale. He's actually joining the cast as a series regular for season 4 because he's taking over the role from young Cal. Other spoiler alerts, you might have noticed a name was left off of there. That's because the mom died at the end of season 3, and she is not coming back for season 4. Really? Apparently will not be resurrected any kind of a way whatsoever. So there you go. But, hey, NBC, see, you fucked up. Everybody wants these shows. Zoe's, Manifest, and everybody's scoring except you.
I know, right?
You could have saved them on the Peacock, but you didn't.
Exactly. It's also very interesting to have Netflix work with Warner Brothers, who, is HBO, which is interesting because Netflix modeled their whole thing after HBO. So it's it's awesome how it's streaming war. I know, I'm going so off
You are
tangents.
getting really deep.
I just love how it's streaming wars, but it's also they help each other. I think that's so nice. It gets me in my feels.
It's like old-fashioned war where, you were gentlemen about it.
Yeah, right?
I'm just saying.
It's so funny. Handshake, duel, 10 steps, bang! Oh, that sucks.
That's right.
Netflix has
Alexander
debuted.
Hamilton.
Yeah, basically. This next one I'm super excited about because Adam McKay, I love what he's doing right now. He's making some great content. Still haven't seen Vice, but I heard it's bad. Other than that one, though, let's just talk about the new.
Everybody's allowed one misstep. And that was it.
It's true. Netflix debuted its first trailer for Adam McKay's dark comedy, Don't Look Up. And in the trailer, we see Jennifer Lawrence, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, Meryl Streep, so many freaking people, Ariana Grande, Kid Cudi, blah, 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 so many. But anyway, Jennifer Lawrence and Leonardo DiCaprio, as 2 low-level astronomers, warn civilization about a giant asteroid that looks to take out the Earth. Now, the film features a star-studded cast, like I said, with Tyler Perry, Timothy Chalamet, Ariana Grande, Kate Blanchett, so many freaking people.
Yes.
It will have a limited run in theaters, which is fantastic. Maybe Jim can help him with that when he goes over to Netflix on December 10th, before landing on Netflix December 24th. So maybe they're trying to do some things with this one.
Maybe. I mean, from what I understand, and like I said, we've got a story coming up. Netflix is guaranteeing theatrical releases for certain films. So, I mean, grant that one was only 2 weeks instead of 45 days, but hey, I mean, that's better than anything, right?
Yeah.
Netflix also unveiled the first trailer for Antoine Fuqua's directed thriller The Guilty, starring our guy Jake Gyllenhaal as a troubled police detective turned 911 operator. The Guilty takes place over the course of a single morning in the dispatch center where Gyllenhaal's Joe Baylor works. But, as the trailer makes abundantly clear, this is no regular workday. Instead of fielding typical calls, Joe finds himself racing to save Emily, a mysterious woman who calls 911 under the guise of speaking to her child, as she's palpably afraid of the man she's with. This sounds like that Halle Berry film.
A little bit.
Yeah, you know, with Abigail Breslin, but I'm going to go with it because it's Antoine Fuqua and Jake Gyllenhaal, so I think it's going to be badass anyway.
Right.
So, go for it.
Netflix has signed the TikTok star Addison Rae to a multi-picture deal. Rae recently made her acting debut with starring in a role in Netflix's He's All That, a gender-swapped remake of the 1999 high school rom-com She's All That. Rae has more than 83.3 million TikTok followers, making her the third most popular person on the platform. She has 39.2 million followers on Instagram and close to 5 million followers on Twitter. The 20-year-old Louisiana native also released her first single, Obsessed, back in March. So, she's getting shit done with the situation around her. I mean, definitely brought up in social media. Obviously, that's how she knows how to handle it so well. And, I mean, taking it to her advantage. And, I mean, nobody can knock her hustle for that. So,
no, and I mean, she's one of those rare people that we talk about. It doesn't happen every time, right? Most of the time it does not work. But she's one of those rare exceptions where it has worked. She is talented beyond the social media stuff and is able to capitalize on it. So good for her. Cinderella, the one-time Sony musical, which they passed off, starring Camila Cabello, was picked up by Amazon Prime. It debuted, as you guys know, over the 4-day Labor Day weekend, notching 1.1 million U.S. households. Amazon is celebrating Cinderella as the #1 most watched video-on-demand movie over the holiday stretch, saying that Cinderella delivered the strongest results as the biggest musical of 2021, second only to Disney's Hamilton in 2020. Just say the biggest musical of 2021. Why do you have to bring up Hamilton, which was last year?
Right.
That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, just say it was the biggest musical of 2021.
Exactly.
Come on, Amazon. Stop with that shady shit. Like, what are you doing?
This next one's very interesting and kind of sucks because I was kind of excited about it because we're huge Donald Glover fans and Phoebe Waller-Bridge is everywhere right now, making hits after hits. But remember we told you about Mr. and Mrs. Smith series adaptation coming to Amazon with both of them helping each other write it. But apparently creative differences happened and Glover decided to part ways. But it does say that they are still friends and are still amicable and they both mutually decided to part ways. And sometimes that just happens and that's okay. It's amazing to be able to have that conversation because that's very important. You don't need to put your feelings in every single thing. So it sucks, but at the same time, I love that they were cordial about it.
Yeah, I mean, and he's moving on. He's staying on as executive producer. He's still going to star in it, and she'll, I'm sure, end up somewhere because she's awesome.
Exactly.
So, I'm super pumped about this one because I love this guy. Suits alum Patrick J. Adams is set for a key recurring role opposite Abby Jacobson in Amazon's A League of Their Own. Adams will play Charlie, Carson's handsome Midwestern husband, on his way home soon from fighting overseas during World War II. He's eager to return to a life back at home with his wife. I love this because I'm a huge fan of him. And good that they're going to incorporate that, returning hero stuff into the storyline like they did in the film, because I think that's important.
Agreed, man. Agreed. Hey, guys, Bieber's having a documentary come out on Amazon. That's it.
That's it. That's all we need to know.
Jumping to Apple. I'm really excited about this one, though, because this is gaining a lot of momentum. I've seen a lot of people talk about the first season, especially now with Dave Bautista being with it. Was Dave Bautista a part of the first season?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but I mean, he's all over the trailer for the second one, so I'm super pumped. And it also explains why these two guys are working so well together and trying to build their own thing as well. C, a post-apocalyptic drama headlined by Jason Momoa, has set a new ratings benchmark for Apple TV in its sophomore season. C, which also stars Dave Bautista and Alfre Woodard, has become Apple TV's most watched returning drama series in the first 2 weeks after its release. Season 2 viewership over the first 2 weeks is set to be up nearly 30% over the same period of Season 1. In the U.S., C, recorded likely soon, will be eclipsed by the return of Apple's signature show and drama series / the winning Emmy series, The Morning Show, whose second season premieres September 17th. And that's probably why it didn't get as much recognition for the Season 1, because they dropped the same time.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
agreed.
The Morning Show is so damn good, though.
And that trailer for The Morning Show Season 2 looks freaking epic.
Can't wait.
It's going to be so good. Okay, now, like we teased at the top of the show, right? We had a big story leading into our guest, right? Christopher Nolan, and the perils of making stupid decisions and losing creators, right? Okay, well, it only made sense that we end the week's industry news with this segment, a story about Christopher Nolan, since our guest this week has cast almost every one of Nolan's films. They're family, they're brothers.
They are.
Listen to the interview coming up. According to sources, Christopher Nolan has had discussions with several major studios about his next film, which would be a return to the history of the Second World War after Dunkirk, but this time set in America and revolving around J. Robert Oppenheimer, as you guys know, developed the atom bomb, or helped develop the atom bomb.
Wow.
Now, while Nolan's last few films were at Warner Brothers, the director was not pleased when Warner Media made the decision to put the entire 2021 slate on HBO Max, and he made it clear that he would never work with them again, and he was interested in some degree of having theatrical exclusivity on all of his films. Now, the bidders that are currently trying to get this one can assume that that means that deal for that will have to include theatrical release.
Yeah.
The Oppenheimer project would also carry the requirement. Nolan's film would carry a substantial budget. It's believed to be well over $100 million, which could make it less attractive for some of the smaller studios because it's a drama aimed at adults. But it just goes to show you, he's shopping it everywhere but Warner Brothers.
That's what happens, man. That's what happens when, especially for like, Tenet was like their blockbuster coming out of the gate of the pandemic. So, I mean, I'm sure he was not happy at all with it being placed on HBO Max. But, I mean, you know, everybody has value to their own opinion and how they feel about things. And he is the definition of a filmmaker. So he needs to see his shit up on the big screen, which makes sense. He is an amazing creative. And, you know, I mean, especially if there was behind-the-scenes talks of this not happening or nobody informing him about it, because he's one of their biggest creatives at Warner Brothers, or at least was, behind like Clint Eastwood, obviously. But, you know, it just happens. It happens. I mean, be amicable, like Donald Glover and Phoebe.
Yep.
It's just is what it is.
It is.
But now, it is time for the one and only John Papsidera coming on the show. We're super excited for this interview because, I mean, like we said at the top of the show before getting into it, he did his research on us so freaking much. And, I mean, we literally could have talked to this guy for the whole 2 hours of the whole show.
I mean, seriously, he made J-Lo cry. He reintroduced the world to Jasper. This guy's awesome. I can't even imagine. Like, it was one of the most fun interviews we've had in a really long time.
I agree, man. I agree. All the up-and-comers are going to love this one, and you're going to know. I mean, we showed it in a social media promo, but you're going to know what drove him to start his own company, and that was fear. It's different for every single person. Fear of being on the street and not being able to pay your bills. And sometimes that drives people so much to fucking make some great shit.
Indeed.
Indeed, man. Indeed. Well, y'all are going to love this interview. Here he is.
John Papsidera, welcome inside the Crazy Ant Farm, man. How are you tonight?
I'm really good. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely, man. We are super pumped because some of the stuff that you have cast, my friend, we're both like huge geeks, and so we're fanboying for sure.
Very kind.
We may have a little
more of my career than I do, but
well, with one of them, we may have a little debate going on, so that'll get fun. That'll be fun. But what we like to do first is kind of start off and giving a nice introduction to the fans and to the listeners out there. And so, how did you get started in the industry as a casting director? Was that something, was like that always the goal, or was acting maybe first something on the forefront, or how did it all swing around to get you where you are now?
Yeah, it's a long rambling story. You sure you want to?
Sure, we love long rambling stories.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let's put everybody to sleep in the first 5 minutes. So yes, I wanted to be an actor. I went to undergraduate school at Florida State and got a BFA in acting. Then I went to graduate school at Circle in the Square in New York, and studied there. And I got out and I went to my first. Theater was never a problem. Theater I loved, and and it wasn't about talent. I got out and I went to my first commercial audition that I remember, and it was the takeoff on Top Gun. That's how long ago.
Oh, okay.
Not the new Top Gun, the original Top Gun.
Not Maverick. Okay.
I sat in this cockpit, and it was for like Diet Pepsi or something. I sat in this cockpit, and there was like 6 cameras around me and stuff. And I remember walking out and thinking, I can't do this. I thought, and I know what it is now. In hindsight, I look at that and go, I didn't have the confidence to sit in front of a camera and allow it to observe me, and so I thought, now what do I do? So I always worked in restaurants since I was like 13, and worked my way through schools in restaurants. And so at the time, I happened to be working at a restaurant of a celebrity chef that kind of brought California cuisine to New York, Jonathan Waxman's restaurant in New York. And Jonathan offered me the opportunity to manage the restaurant. Then I ended up running multiple restaurants of Jonathan's. I moved to, I opened a restaurant in London for him. Wow. I then came back and moved to Los Angeles and ran restaurants for other celebrity chefs that I knew, like Susan Feniger, Mary Sue Milliken, and I opened Campanile for Mark Peel, who, God love him, just passed away, and Nancy Silverton. And during that, I thought, what am I doing? Like at the end of the day, it is, I had felt like I had walked away from my dream of being an actor and being in the entertainment business. And so I was trying to figure out how to get back to that, because at the end of the day, even though I love restaurants and loved my association with them, and I own a restaurant now, it's clearing coffee cups. I mean, that's the job. When you're a GM, it comes down to that at some point. So anyway, I had my best friend in college was working in casting, and who was also an actor, and he said, you should come and talk to my boss, who was Marcia Kleinman, who, God bless her soul, is gone now, but she was like the queen of MOWs back in the day. And I went and sat and talked to Marcia, and she said, I think it might be something that you really love. And what I ended up figuring out, again, a little bit in hindsight, is that it blended for me interaction with actors, which I loved and was lifeblood, still kind of interpreting characters, and a sense of business that always came somewhat easy to me. So it was a combination of all those things, of creativity and business, that really I thought was, kind of interesting. So Marcia said, you should meet 2 people. One was David Rubin, who is now the Academy president. And David said, you sing great. Marcia said great things about you, but I just hired somebody. Her name's Debbie Zane, and, who now is a huge casting director and amazing in her own right. And she said, you should meet Stanley Sobel, who ran the Mark Taper Forum and was the casting director there. He offered me an internship. 2 weeks later, they offered me a position as an assistant. And so I did that. And that's kind of how my career turned from kind of the celebrity chef world running restaurants into being a casting director. And because of my friends in the business, you make so little money starting out. And because of those casting directors that I worked with that allowed me to leave early on a Friday and go manage a restaurant on Friday night. And then I worked Saturday, Sunday, and Monday nights running restaurants. I was able to do that, 7 days a week for 7 years until I finally got to a place in casting where I was an associate and then stopped being involved in restaurants.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, a few things I can take away from that because, I mean, there's so much to dissect. But, I mean, while chasing your dream, you still have your day hustle going on. You kept your head down and kept moving forward, which I think a lot of people need to learn how to do because it's not going to happen overnight. Rarely does that ever happen. It's like less than 1% that happens. So that is great for the up-and-comers to hear. And also...
It's true. Sorry to interrupt, but it's true.
You're fine.
Like, it's also kind of like I see people now and even, people in my office that, may or may not struggle, want more money and whatever. But that same drive of, I'm going to bartend on weekends, or I'm going to do this, doesn't exist. And, I think on some level, if I can say my parents gave me anything or taught me anything, it was a work ethic, much to my, advantage and disadvantage, if you ask my wife sometimes. But, but I am, I mean, I do think that, it does take hard work and persistence,
And the other thing, the thing that jumped out at me is, and I want to get a T-shirt of this, Mr. DeMille, I'm not ready for my close-up. Knowing, because you also have to know that, right? You have to know this isn't the path that I'm meant to go on. You've got to be smart enough to be able to walk away from it and figure a different way, right? Because a lot of people will hang too long and say, no, this is my dream. I can do this. I've got to do it. So you've got to be capable of going, okay, maybe this path isn't where I'm going, but I can go somewhere else, right?
Yeah, I mean, having a sense of self, and what you are capable of and not capable of. And who knows? I mean, maybe if I had stuck to it and been a little bit more willing to, I'll tell you this, I did get an offer for a non-equity touring after I got out of school, non-equity touring show of to do Shakespeare in rep. And they were doing 3 different shows and blah, blah, blah. And it was like $300 a week. And you traveled around in a van and you shared a room with the other people. And I just thought, you know what? There's no way. I mean, how do you keep your apartment in New York doing that? Number one. Yeah. Number two, I'm not big on just eating rice for dinner. You know what I mean? And lastly, I thought, you know what? I am going to be stuck with the guy playing Falstaff as my, fucking roommate. I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. So, it is a little bit of my own creature comforts that also led me away. I wasn't willing to starve for my art, in that way. And I think lastly, too, the idea, I taught a class remotely as an adjunct professor at Florida State. Now it's maybe 4 years ago, for acting for the camera. And, and I said to my students, you have to be really aware of what your competition is coming out, And at this point, I was looking at the girls in the class and going, look, you're a young 20-year-old girl or mid 20 years old. You're going up against the Jennifer Lawrences of the world and the Emma Stones of the world. Those are your competition. That is the reality. Not right out of the gate, but that's the generation you're in. Right. Can you compete? I literally looked at myself and I thought, what am I going to play? I'm going to be somebody's best friend. I'm going to be somebody the stuff I did in soap operas was like, I was the bartender. I was the delivery guy. You know what I mean? Like, is that really what I want to do? Right. And so for me, that answer was no, I want to be in the business, but I'll find another path into it and do something else.
That's fantastic to hear because a lot of people need to look in the mirror. They need to see who they are and what they could be cast as. Are you a leading man or a leading woman, or are you the best friend, and are you okay with being the best friend and never going forward towards that? So that's really great to hear. So after years of grinding it out and working for other people, Then you started your own casting company, Automatic Sweat.
Yeah.
What gave you the confidence to make that leap? Because I mean, with like making so many connections, working with other people, now you're doing it by yourself and gathering up your own crew. What gave you that confidence to do that?
It's funny. Friends of mine, and particularly my friend John Brace, who is a casting director and was the one that introduced me initially to the casting director that I went and met with. He's always said to me, you're a hustler, like you can talk to people and you like to schmooze, and none of that is actually true.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is that it's fear that drove me. It was fear of like, am I going to pay my bills? Am I going to have a life? Can I live in this place? Can I do that? Like, that's what motivated me to pick up a phone and make calls. I don't like doing that. And I like my work to speak for itself, not like, oh, somebody's friend is interested in a friend. Like I didn't rely on that kind of network. So when I went out on my own, my partnership ended with the casting director, Mindy Marin, that I was working with. And we just had a different idea of what that was going to be. Our partnership was going to be. And so I decided at that point, it wasn't, our path wasn't to work together. And so I went out on my own, but I was terrified. I was probably never more broke in my life. And I took the big leap because I had to on some level. Yeah. And I have a lot of people to thank for that. I have a lot of, it happened right after I did Austin Powers, the original Austin Powers. And so the Todds, Suzanne and Jen Todd were big supporters, and I owe them an undying debt to help me. And they introduced me to Chris Nolan, and that's how I did Memento. And, it was, yes, I had worked on really good projects, and Clear and Present Danger and stuff that I did with Mindy really helped me get known out there. But at the end of the day, it was a leap of faith and fear hand in hand. And I just started from scratch, Yeah.
Whew. Man, though, that I love that, because one of my favorite sayings is leap and the net will appear. Right? Yeah. At some point, you just have to believe in your talent, believe in your ability, and say, I'm doing it. I got to leap and trust that it's going to happen, right? And I love people that have the courage to do that, because I think a lot of people walk away. They're not willing to make that leap. And then it's what could have been, right? So, and I don't know about you, but I'm that type of guy that I don't want to live the rest of my life saying what could have been. I want to know that I tried, and if I failed, great, but at least I tried. I don't have anything to regret down the line. And so, and we completely understand the partnership thing, man. Myself, I've had, until I found this guy, man. There was people just didn't understand the vision. They didn't understand what I was trying to do, where I was trying to go, until this guy came, and then it just clicked. And then so that again, it goes back to, you've got to be smart enough to know, right? This isn't kind of where I'm going. This isn't what I'm trying to do. I got to do something else. And so kudos to that.
And you got to be realistic about it. Like we all have dreams. It's funny. I was just thinking about this. I used to think things like, well, when I have my first tuxedo, that'll mean when I own my first tuxedo, that'll mean I've really made it. Right. Or when I own my first Ed Ruscha piece of art, that will mean that I've really, and and those things really change. We all have those dreams, but you also have to be realistic enough to look at yourself and go, do I think this will pan out and make me happy?
Yep, that's great. I mean, a lot of people need to hear that, because I mean, they think they're chasing something that they want, they desire so bad, but then realize once they get it, it wasn't worth it in the end, because they had sacrificed so much. So it's all about trying to figure out who you are as a person first before figuring out what you want. It's kind of coincide hand in hand, but And
it is kind of antithetical. It goes against what, film and television by and large, but goes against what they teach you in academia. Right. And God love them. The training is fantastic at most places, and, it gives people a foothold, but it's the exact opposite of what your real life experience is.
Exactly.
You are not going to be playing if you're 25 and getting, out of college and going into acting career, you're not going to be playing 75-year-old men with great.
Right. Exactly.
Not everybody can play Jasper in My Uncle Sydney.
Hey now.
Hey now.
That's right. That's how it all started. Wait for it. Ready? Is she a Mexican? Hey man, that's it. That was the one line to start him right there.
Look, we do our research, but this is the first time anyone's done on their research on us. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I love that, man. Thank you. All right, good shout out. All right, so we get asked this a lot also, and so I'm just curious now. That's a fantastic name for the company. Where did that come from?
A homeless man said it to me.
Oh,
there's always a great story.
Yeah, when I made that leap, one of my best friends now in life, they occupied the little bungalow next to Mindy and I. And when I went out on my own, they had already moved. And Gary Ward, my friend, who's a brilliant artist and an executive producer and is in the commercial space, said to me, "Well, why don't you just just move in here with us?" So they, for like almost 3 or 4 years, allowed me to stay in their company, which was called Crash Films, and run my office out of there, which was such a lifeline and a blessing, to be around your best friends all day and be able to house your company. So they were really instrumental in helping me. And there was a guy that used to hang out in Santa Monica, whose name was Tiger Man. And he did some odd stuff around. He would do some slow movement on, the promenade and do shit like that. And he once said, "Life ain't nothing but an automatic sweat." And I thought, well, come on, truer words never spoken. So that's where it came from. Most people think it's like, oh, you thought that, actors break out in a sweat immediately when that just happened to fit into it.
Right.
It was, I owe that to Tiger Man. I stole that.
I love that. Shout out to Tiger Man. That's awesome.
Life ain't nothing but an automatic sweat.
I love it. Well, obviously, as you can tell, and you brought it up a little bit earlier, the one and only Christopher Nolan, one of my favorite directors and creatives of all time. And we got our little Dark Knight right back here on set.
Oh, I see that.
That's right, man.
So, of course, we have to talk about it.
Appreciate and value at some point.
Yes.
Exactly. So, like you said, that's how you got the introduction. Was it like right out of the gate when you met Christopher that he was like, "Hey, I got this thing in the works and I want to bring you along," or how far along in the progression did that go?
Because Chris and his wife Emma, his producer, had done a film for Chris's first film, Following, in the UK, but he had not really done anything in the US, and this was his first film. And so Jen and Suzanne just introduced me to them, like, "Oh, we want to use John. He did Austin Powers with us." We met, and Chris was like, "Great." I have to say, it was one of the, you might regret that now, but it was one of the easiest films, I have to say, to cast, because Chris was gracious enough at that time, either in not knowing any better or trusting me somehow. He said to me, "Bring in the best people, bring me your favorite actors." And it's what I did, and that's who he chose, and that was that. It was incredibly quick and kind of streamlined.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, and you would think not, right? You would think, no, there's no way. That had to be difficult to land those people, right? But no, it was quick and easy.
It was quick and easy in so far as, people that I really wanted to be in the movie responded to the script.
Right.
That being said, I had to read the script 3 times to even have an idea of what was going on. And because I'd read it and go, "Wait a minute, I just read that," and go back again.
Right.
Because of the structure of the film. But I met Chris and Jonah, his brother at that point, and Emma, and, knock on wood, I have been blessed to, call them family and friends and collaborators for 18 years now, something like that.
Oh, that's amazing. And before we started recording, we told you about our little debate that him and I have going on. Obviously, with me being the younger generation, with him being a little bit older generation. I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
Just a few months, yeah.
He's always saying Michael Keaton, the definitive Batman, but my Batman is the one and only Christian Bale. And I mean, I bless you for that, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
What is your opinion?
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Well, of course. I mean, you have to do it, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Look, I think the films that Chris made, I mean, look, it helped reignite an entire genre.
Yeah,
film.
absolutely.
And the tone of those movies were much more like the comic books to me. I can appreciate what those earlier Batman versions were, but silliness doesn't go that far with me.
Hey, I agree. When Schumacher got a hold of it, it was over, right? I think if Burton had been allowed to continue his dark version, maybe, but I totally agree. I will say though, Ledger, unmatched
by far.
Even Morgan Freeman as Lucius. I mean, I thought that was brilliant casting. Honestly, I thought that was just the fantastic because he's such an integral part of Bruce's life. Here comes my comic geek, right? But so that was critical, right? You've got to find that guy who's believable in that role because this is the guy who's basically saying, "Okay, Playboy, I'm going to give you all your stuff, and you're going to go be a bat," right? And he's got to be believable, and who's not more believable than Morgan Freeman, right? I mean, come on now.
Hard to imagine.
Exactly.
That was a really, so many years ago now, but it was a really, all the processes with Chris are really fun. I mean, not in like hoot and hollering and,
right.
It's just a gas, but it's both creatively stimulating, mentally stimulating, and challenging. I think, unlike a lot of other directors or films that I've done and television shows, Chris, it's about figuring out, I always say 99.9% of what's on that page when I read the script for the first time, and it's usually pretty early on in the process, it's exactly what the film is. There's no editing. I mean, there's no like, oh, I'm changing this, I'm taking out this section. So for Chris, I think, the movie is all already in his head.
Right.
So now the question and the challenge for me is, how do I find the exact right puzzle piece to drop into place that makes sense in the film that's already in his head?
That's the and I can't speak because he's one of your favorite directors. He's one of my favorite directors, but I think the reason is for me, he's old school. This guy's a filmmaker. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like he still wants to do he wants to do he doesn't want to CGI it, right? Let's do miniatures or let's do full scale. Let's make this stuff real, right? And like you said, it goes from his mind to the page to check the gate, it's cut, and there's I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to edit that. That's old school filmmaking, right?
And Chris is one of the only directors that I work with that is always ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
And it's exactly because of that exact reason. Right. He knows exactly what he needs in his mind. He gets it and he's done and move on.
Yep.
And he's not searching for the creativity that somebody's going to bring to something. He wants them to, perform what he's already envisioned.
Right.
And I mean, I just have to say, because Heath Ledger was one of my all-time favorite actors, so this is my introduction to him. But then I went back and watched like Ned Kelly, A Knight's Tale, 10 Things, basically spanning all over his career. So I appreciate you and Chris for completely introducing me to him. And it was because of The Dark Knight that I wanted to get involved in filmmaking and pursue my passion.
I read that in your bio about, Heath was the inspiration, which is really, really kind and appropriate in the sense that Heath was that talented.
He was absolutely,
but is such a compliment and is so cool to hear that somebody actually was inspired by that.
Yeah, yes. I mean, without doubt. Of
course. And I mean, other than that, because there's this one recently came out pre-pandemic, just barely though, just barely, that really touched both of us immensely, and that is Honey Boy, the Shia LaBeouf film.
Oh my gosh.
Honey Boy.
Yeah.
This was an absolute gem. I feel like a diamond in the rough that not enough people saw. This one should have won the Oscar for the best screenplay. I believe it was nominated for. But how did the casting go with that? Were you like hand in hand with Shia the whole time, or how did that go?
You know, it's funny. It's funny because go in reverse years, I put Shia in Dumb and Dumberer.
Yeah.
No longer appears on his resume.
Yeah,
No
wow.
longer appears anywhere in his life. And he spent most of that movie in a mascot outfit, which I don't think he ever recovered from and or forgave me for. But all those years in between, I would talk to his manager and say, "Oh, tell Shia I said hi." And when I met Shia for the first time, he came in and sat with me with his mom, and I mean, just a special human being. And his mom was sweet, and we sat and chatted for a long time. And this is maybe a detriment of mine, but once I know people and or work with them, I think I consider them friends on whatever level that is. So for all these years, I'm like, "Oh, tell Shia I said hi," blah, 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 whatever it was. When the process started on Honey Boy, Shia showed up at my office to read with Lucas and, read with people.
Right.
And he walked in the door and I went, "Shia, hey man, how are you?" And he could have looked through me. He could have looked at my feet. No fucking clue. No clue of like his long-term friendship with
That's
me.
hilarious. That is hilarious.
No, it was, he was nice. "Oh yeah, hey, how you doing, man?"
Yeah, right.
And then went about his business. So it was not always, that.
Right.
But such a creative soul, such a guy that was committed to that film and to those characters. Shia was rehearsing 8 hours a day in a motel room months before they started shooting.
Yeah.
So, that level of commitment. And then, he brought the other guys along with him to do that. It was a very intense kind of process, but also, what's the word? Careful. Everybody knew that it was a special project.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to get it exactly right as best we could.
Right.
So, it was, and I think she did an amazing job with that film. It is a gem of a movie, I think.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I wasn't familiar with Shia with the whole Even Stevens and Disney days, right?
No.
The first time I saw him, and because you said this, and it just sparked for me because you said, right away you knew something special. This guy's got something, right? Yeah. Well, I saw him in, remember Project Greenlight back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
That's the first introduction I had for him when he was in the Battle of Shaker Heights, and I saw that, and I was like, Jesus, this kid is unreal. This kid's got something special, some talent there. If somebody can catch that, that's going to be huge, right? And he just blew me away in that film, and I was like, wow. So
it's really interesting because I had that same feeling. I mean, you have that a lot of times, I mean, I was lucky enough to cast Charlize in her first film. And, there are moments when, and I think that's the most rewarding thing for me in my career, is that when you realize, plenty of people will ask, "Oh, what's the worst audition?" or "What's this?" or "What's that?" The thing that stays with me is when I feel like I'm in the presence of an artist. I even think about that and I get chills. And so it's those moments when you sit there. And it's funny, you mentioned Honey Boy, Lucas Hedges, I had the same feeling with. His manager had called me, and this was long before this, and right after he had wrapped the movie. I'm going to forget the name of that film. Anyway, this is his first film. I'll look it up because it's going to drive me crazy.
Sure. Consult the Bible, IMDb Pro.
Yes, exactly. But I had met Lucas, and I remember saying to his manager, he is a really special Manchester by the Sea.
There you go.
Really special human being. The wherewithal to sit when you're 17 years old and have a conversation like I had with Lucas is just extraordinary. And those are the moments that you go, God, I am so lucky and blessed to get to do what I do.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, speaking of that, that brings up a next question that I'm always just very curious about. How do you find undiscovered talent? I mean, especially now in the days of social media, do you look to see if people are making skits, or how does that go about?
Yes, I look for skits.
Yeah, that exact thing.
You know what? It is a lot of people do it all different kinds of ways. And I think the basic answer for me is you have to be open to the process.
Yeah.
You know, it's not my movie. It's not my idea.
That's right.
Everybody thinks they're a casting director. Everybody's got an idea.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think the danger is when you become a casting director and buy your own ego, you know, believe your own ego and kind of wall yourself off from the process. You know, it's about saying yes. It's about saying yes to meeting people. It's about saying yes to look at films. It's about saying yes to doing research. It's all those kinds of things about listening to what somebody else is in a film and you hear about it. It's about being open to that process. For me, I think is the answer, because things come at you from all over the place,
right.
You know, and especially now, you know, video, you know, clips, you know, audition tapes. I mean, all kinds of things come at you. And you just got to remain open to it to find, you know, the gold.
So, okay, so let's talk about that then, because we've talked about this with numerous guests on the show, acting, and different people behind the camera, below the line, but social media and the impact that it's had on the game, and you're seeing people come from social media and enter into the game of television and film and everything. As a casting director, what is your thought on that? What's your process? Do you even look at that? Is that important for you? When a director comes to you and says, hey, this person, wow, they're just booming over there. Is that even a thing for you? Talk about that?
I mean, honestly, it's a very small piece of it. You know, I mean, even if you go down those rabbit holes to find those people,
right.
You know, I'd say 1 in 1,000 times do they deliver and or show up, and does it end up happening?
Right.
It's very rarely, in my experience.
Right.
You know, it's much more likely that I get introduced to somebody new by an agent that signs somebody, or a manager that, you know, calls me and says, you should really meet this person, or I watch something and see somebody and go, who was that in that? And then look them up. It's more of that than it is really. No, I mean, I have a very mixed feeling about social media. I'm not on it. I mean, my gallery is on it. I'm not on it. You know, it could be the death of civilization as we know it.
That's right.
But you know, I know you, Dustin, likes politics. Let me not get into politics.
Yeah,
that's it. No. Hey, anytime you want to chat politics, we can go.
That's for the next show. That's for the next show.
I love this guy. I love how much you researched us. Yeah. That's fantastic. I mean, I really do. But yeah, you know, we talk about that all the time. It's a double-edged sword, right? Like you said, it could be the death of civilization. It also is a great promotional tool for if you are on something and you can interact with your fans and build that base, right? So it. I guess it all comes down to, like anything in society, how it's used, right? Could be very bad. It could be very good.
How do you use that power or platform?
That's right.
You know what I mean? And not in a holier than thou way. I'm not saying that it's got to be used for the greater good of civilization or society, but what you do with it and how you conduct yourself. That's, you know, that is. I don't know, key to being taken seriously or not in that crossover move, you know?
Yep, completely.
I'm much more apt and interested in musicians becoming actors and, you know, rather than, oh, you did a TikTok dance.
Yeah, right. There you go. I love that. So, I mean, that brings up this question. What musician turned actor do you think is the best? Because we have one person in mind that we really enjoy.
That's a tough question.
Right?
I don't really think of the best, because in my job, at least the way I look at it, is that the one thing I do love about it is that from the day I meet an actor to the day I drop dead, I can be a fan of that person.
Right.
And I can think they are talented, and I can think they are inspiring and skillful and all those things. And it's one thing that I really love. Like, commerce doesn't really interact for me. You're either right for the job or you're not right. You either get the role or you don't, but it doesn't change my feelings about you, you know? So, you know, people will say, well, who's your favorite actor? Well, I have to have somebody that's really right for something, and then 15 or 50 other people that can do it also.
Right.
So to narrow it down to one person and say that's the only person, I don't think that makes me a good casting director. So I try and steer out of that. Even when reading scripts, people will say, well, who'd you think of? Well, I thought of 50 people because I knew I was going to sit and talk to you about it.
Right.
You know, and I didn't think of one person.
Right.
So the best actor, I mean, look, I would have, that's a tough one. Share with me who you think it is. Maybe that who you guys.
We really enjoy Justin Timberlake's work, man. I mean,
it's so funny. I was talking about Justin today on a project, and he's a really good actor.
He really is. He really is.
I mean, I sit there and go, "Did you watch Black Snake Moan?
Right,
he's fucking great." In Black Snake Moan. You know what I mean?
And I thought
he was great. I think Justin's a really talented guy all the way around.
Agreed. You know who?
I might have to say Harry Styles because I cast Harry.
Yeah, in Dunkirk. Yep.
You know, and
Absolutely.
Speaking of your love of Heath, that is the thing I think both Chris and I responded to with the process with Harry for Dunkirk.
Yeah.
In the back of our minds, at least for me, I won't speak for Chris, there was a Heath quality to Harry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And,
I can see that.
and you just felt it. There was something raw and talent and energy wise that was very reminiscent of Heath for me.
Yeah.
They see that. You know, one I've always kind of wanted to see in front of the camera, take on some actor. Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20.
Yeah.
The
Rob
lead.
Thomas. Yeah, sure. I know a lot of people, go on about Adam Levine. Like, which is kind of like based in, looks and stuff. I mean, I think Billy Joe Shaver. I don't know if you guys even know Billy Joe Shaver.
Yeah.
Billy Joe Shaver, God love him. We lost him last year.
Yeah.
Amazing in stuff that he did as an actor.
Yeah.
I got to meet Dwight Yoakam's a brilliant fucking actor.
Absolutely. And he's in Cry Macho, is he not? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if he's in Cry Macho.
The new Eastwood
film,
I think.
Yeah. He might be. But I look at those guys and go, well, they just bring their life experience, to that. And, I got to meet Billy Joe after a concert through Dwight, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
And Billy Joe said to me, hey, yeah, you're a casting director. Yeah, I like doing that, man. It's easy. It's easy. It's really easy. Yeah. I was like, I just cracked up. I mean, those kinds of characters are few and far in between.
Sure, right.
That's so funny. Well, I want to bring it to a recent one, especially one that kind of just like struck lightning in a bottle, basically, in my opinion, and that's The Flight Attendant. This one, I mean, I think I love it. Absolutely love it, especially coming out the gate with HBO Max. Nobody really knew what to expect with HBO Max's original content, but I absolutely love it. I love Kaylee. She's amazing, and I love it because the only thing I knew her from was obviously Big Bang, so to see her completely kind of shift a little bit into this more dramatic, I think was absolutely brilliant. And again, that's more kudos to you, man, because you put the right people in the right places.
Well, Kaylee, I consider her a dear friend now. Not the kind of like, oh, I met them and now they're a friend. Right. This is a true friend. Like, she's an amazing, amazing human being. Yeah. And beyond just being a fantastic actress. I'd known her over the years. She was always willing to come in and read for stuff. Mm-hmm. And I always respect that in the process, There's a long story that I could tell you about Anne Hathaway and Catwoman, but I won't bore you. But Kayla would come in and read for stuff, and I think people were confused and sold her short because they only knew her from Big Bang Theory. Mm-hmm. Right. Yet she was always fantastic when she came in and read for me and auditioned for stuff. And so when she had this and developed it, she signed the book and developed the project herself. When I got to meet on it, one of the most fun meetings I had, just because her energy and her kindness in the room was so effusive. And that's what the process has been, so I couldn't be happier for that team collectively, because, I think it's contagious, the passion and enthusiasm that they all have for that material and for walking that line of tone, which is so hard to do. And get right. And I think they did a brilliant job. So I'm thrilled for all of them and its success. We're in the middle of doing the second season of The Flight Attendant now. And the party continues. I think we have an amazing cast going into the second season, and I'm really excited for them to get going.
Yeah.
I think I remember her initially with John Ritter on, what was it? 10 Rules About Dating My Teenage Daughter. I think that and the dramatic pieces sometimes in those moments between her and John, right? That's where I always kind of was like, I think she's a much better actress than people give her credit for. She's not just this blonde bimbo, right? And I think she is very Marilyn-esque kind of a quality, right? Can pull off the ditzy blonde and go into character whenever she needs to, but she's actually really smart and really driven.
Yeah, somebody brought up Goldie Hawn to me.
Yeah, Goldie Hawn,
to Kaylee, which Kate would probably not be happy to hear, but I agree with that. Kaylee's got an incredible comedic and quick wit,
right?
And yet she is a really fine actress, dramatic actress as well. Yeah. And once you then add all the great human being stuff that she is, and her love of animals, and putting her money where her mouth is, and all those things, I can't say enough about her. She's an amazing person.
Yes, I completely agree. And I mean, we could have you on for like 2 more hours talking about everything you did, because you're absolutely amazing. I mean, we didn't even touch on like the new Ghostbusters or Peacemaker or anything like that. Yeah. But when these things are released, we are definitely going to have you back on the show to talk about them.
There's a lot of things. Army of the Dead. There's a lot of things to talk about, fellas.
I know. It's so much. It's so much. But we know you're a busy guy, and we're busy people. So we're postponing it for the next time. Yes.
Like a cliffhanger is what you're telling me.
Exactly. It's a little tease for the next time. But I'm just so joyed and so thrilled that you came on the show, man. I mean, this was an absolutely phenomenal conversation. And what we like to do at the very end of each interview is have our guests leave a little piece of advice for the up-and-comers trying to break into the entertainment industry. And what pitfalls would you say to try to avoid?
Yeah, look, I think, it's a tough industry. I mean, it is, my wife just reminded me this the other day. We were talking about big transformations in the industry over time, and she said, well, remember, you used to get like hard copy submissions, not online submissions, resumes, which I was always fearful I considered it to be very worried about actors coming to be an intern in my office because of the sea of thousands upon thousands of mails, pieces of mail that we would get with submissions.
Right.
I would know that would just be overwhelming and crushing to actors to look at the amount of the volume. And so, look, I think it comes down to for me, if I could give them anything, it would be confidence. It separates people when they're in front of a camera. It separates people when they come in a room. It's like we touched on earlier, knowing yourself is probably much more advantageous than anything else. Knowing your strengths and weaknesses, and giving yourself the confidence to kind of walk in a room and immediately spark something in other people. Yes. Because that's what happens. You know what I mean? When somebody walks in the room, it's probably 10 to 15 seconds. Oh, there's a puppy.
There's a dog. Here's Peanut. This is our dog.
That's Peanut. Yep.
That's Peanut. Hi, Peanut.
Yeah, buddy. Peanut. Look over there.
In those first few seconds, people know whether or not I want to work with them. I like this person. They're smart. They're together. They're not a pain in the ass. All those things are, compressed into the first few seconds of meeting people.
That's right.
So I would say confidence and make smart choices. Don't show up unprepared. Don't be uninformed. Knowledge is power.
That's right.
So, the more you do your homework, the more you're prepared and believe in yourself, the rest is, is up to the gods. The chips land where they may.
Absolutely.
But that's as much as you can do. And then the rest of it is faith.
Man, that's belief. That's the key word for me, belief, right? It goes to like what you said with confidence. You have to believe when you walk into that room, you belong in that room. Because if you don't believe that, they're never going to believe that.
They're never going to believe
it. So I love that. That's fantastic advice.
And it doesn't mean this false sense of confidence. It doesn't mean cockiness. It doesn't mean being, if I'm difficult, they'll think I'm a real artist.
Right.
No, it means about being a human being. And look, one of the toughest things to do is to walk into the room, and I have such empathy for actors, and expose your soul day after day after day after day. That is it's soul crushing work. So I feel my job is to create a space where they're able to do that.
Right.
And so, I would just say confidence and choices and information, and allow the rest to be, up to heaven.
So good. I mean, I got emotional a few times when we were talking about Heath. I got emotional a little bit. So I just really thank you for, just letting us in a little bit on that process and how all that went down, and the raw talent that the amazing man was. So we really appreciate that. And like
Absolutely.
I said, we appreciate you for taking your time out a little bit to get a little crazy with us on the podcast. And yes, now you have our contact info. Anytime you want to come back on, please just shoot us an email. Even if you want to talk about industry news, we have an industry news segment. We have a top 5 segment. Cool. Last week it was top 5 beloved franchises and or films that everyone loved, but you did not like. So
well, I won't even say that I've never seen a Marvel movie.
Oh my goodness.
That's all right. You're forgiven for all that because you reintroduced the world to Jasper. So you're good. You're fine.
Yeah. Sorry, I got Jasper.
That's right. You got Jasper out there.
I'd like to see another recap of that the next time we visit.
Oh, yeah, totally, man. You should say, I auditioned with Michael Douglas, with American President. I gave that speech at the end.
Did you really?
That's what I auditioned for. Yeah, that's what I got Jasper from. And I nailed that speech. Oh, man. Thanks so much, man. This has been a blast.
It really has.
Really nice to meet you guys. Thank you for asking me. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
And, I hope to talk to you again soon.
Yes. Thank you so much. You go enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Yep.
Okay, man.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
I don't even, I literally almost cried.
I know. You did.
That was an amazing conversation.
It really was, and he just exudes passion. You can tell this is a guy that just loves what he does, and even right there at the end, his goal is to create a safe space for these people who like he said, put themselves out there every day, and expose themselves with the vulnerability. And so I just love that.
That was so good. And this is literally the first person ever, guys, that has done this much research on us before coming on this show.
I about shit when he said Jasper.
I know. I was like, wait, what's he talking about? I was so confused there for a second. And then, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was such a great show, man. Such a great interview. Thank you again, John, for coming on the show. All right. What's up, guys? How you doing? You guys good? You guys good after that interview?
Is she a Mexican?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, right? Like,
can't even say that anymore.
No.
You can't even say that anymore.
You can't. But it's time for the top 5. You guys know we're super
But I just
excited.
did.
You did.
I don't know.
I know. Twice in one show, basically. Twice in one show.
I can't help it.
Yeah, about that.
All right.
It is top 5 stoner films this week.
Ooh.
I mean, there's so many good ones out there, of course, all a lot to do with comedy. There's like one in yours that's not really comedy.
Yeah, it's kind of serious.
It's kind of serious. But, I mean, there's so many classics, of course, so you guys know we have to go with it. Number 5 for me is Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. I mean, of course, what the fuck? Everybody knows that I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. Basically,
What?
anything and everything. My Funkos are Kevin Smith. You see Jay and Silent Bob and just Kevin Smith. You see it. So, yes, if you're watching the YouTube channel. But, yeah, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Honestly, one of my favorite Kevin Smith films, especially when it has to do with Jay and Silent Bob. I just think it was absolutely brilliant, especially having Mark Hamill in it. Like, come on now, bringing everybody back. I thought absolutely hysterical. But, yeah, that's my number 5 right
there. There you go. My number 5 is the only serious one on the list, but was humorous at points, did have some comedic elements every now and then. I am, of course, talking about the Peter Fonda just like brilliance of film with Dennis Hopper and the one and only Jack Nicholson, of course, Easy Rider.
Yes.
Where they take the stroll across the country.
Yes.
And they're pretty much fucked up and high the entire time. But it's a brilliant film. It's a self-discovery tour. And which most of the time when you're high, it is a self-discovery tour, is it not? Like, I feel like that's where we go every time you get high.
Yeah, seriously.
But it's a great film, guys. I mean, honestly, it's a cinematic masterpiece. It's a true filmmaker's film. If you haven't seen it, please check it out.
Yes.
Easy Rider.
Easy Rider. All right, going to my number 4 of our top 5 stoner films. It goes to Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Because we all know what coincides with weed is the munchies. So we all need that specific food at that time to get us over that hump. And it's just so funny, John Chow and Cal Penn. Cal Penn basically was fucking working for Obama. Like, that's insane to me. And now it came back to the entertainment industry, which is awesome. But, I mean, of course, you had Neil Patrick Harris in this thing, too. It's such a random role when he pops up. Anthony Anderson, love him as well. But it's just funny, man. All of these stoner films are just good, feel-good movies that just make you laugh.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And, okay, so my number 4, you know me, I'm an 80s guy. There was no way this one was not being on my list. The epitome of 80s stoner films, Fast Times at Ridgemount High. Yeah. I mean, come on, guys. Sean Penn, like, every stoner ever models themselves after Sean Penn's performance in that film. He was the epitome of what a total stoned out guy should be. Like, just, I mean, it was, and then, I mean, Judge Reinhold, Phoebe Cates, like, just like so many amazing people in this film. And yeah, I'm sorry, but you'll never, Shia LaBeouf did a fantastic job in the live read. And by the way, I'm pretty convinced he was literally stoned doing it. I mean, without doubt, he was totally stoned doing it. But it's a brilliant fucking film. The live read was brilliant. If you haven't seen this masterpiece, please see this masterpiece. It's Jeff Spicoli is the epitome of a stoner,
right,
like from start to finish, man.
Exactly. Well, talking about epitome of stoners, I mean, these two guys in the one and only movie How High, Method Man and Redman, Wu-Tang Clan strikes again. This one is just absolutely hilarious. I mean, going to Harvard and getting everybody fucked up. It's just absolutely hilarious. Like I said, this is one that when you went back on like your Apple iTunes account and you bought movies, I bought this movie. I had it for like plane rides and shit, which is hilarious because I always like notice people peeking around my shoulder and like watching it with me. I'm like, "What's up, bro? Are you like inside stoner? Like, what's going on?" But it's phenomenal. I love every second of Method Man and Redman. Method Man is a highly underrated actor, to be honest. That's somebody I should have brought up with John.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy has been in like the Power series, obviously this one. Like I said, just super, super, super underrated. So yes, number 3 for mine is How High.
Yeah, that's a good one. Now, my number 3, well, they're the original stoners. They're the ones everybody comes after because these are the guys. Their entire life has been nothing but being stoned and being famous for being stoned. I'm, of course, talking about Cheech and Chong.
Yes.
They're never not stoned. Like, Cheech and Chong are the epitome of stoners. Like, this is where it all started, where it all comes from. And my number 3 is obviously Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke,
yeah,
where the entire movie they are Up in Smoke and fucked up the entire movie. Like, guys, Cheech and Chong had like a series of films that were just them fucked up.
Yeah.
And like, this is the epitome. You know, the Up in Smoke, I feel, is like the best of them, but you can pick any of them and it's the classic stoner film, right? I mean, Cheech and Chong.
I know, right?
They're Cheech and Chong.
That's all you can say.
Yeah, man. That's all you can do. I mean, like, come on.
Exactly. My number 2 goes to Pineapple Express, which kind of reinvented stoner films. Kudos to Seth Rogen. Obviously, James Franco was in that. That's the douchebag one, not Dave, if you listen to last week's show. But, I mean, like I said, it kind of reinvented the stoner film genre a little bit. Seth Rogen just completely took this and just like ran with it, made an epic career, and that's where a lot of people got introduced to Seth Rogen. You know, not a lot of people saw like Knocked Up or Freaks and Geeks or anything like that, but his writing is absolutely phenomenal. He's more known for his writing now than his acting ability, which he's a phenomenal actor as well. But like I said, Pineapple Express, there were so many like epic people attached to this thing too that everybody should just go watch it right now after the show. Yes. My number 2, another, I mean, in my opinion, classic stoner film. Like, two guys, always stoned, just living life, watching it pass by, making observations, kind of seeing the deal, how's it going down in the hood, right? They're totally just living life in the hood, fucked up. I'm talking about Friday. Ice Cube, Chris Tucker, like, it's like one of the most hilarious films I've ever seen in my life. Just like, knock the fuck out! Like, I mean, there's so many famous lines in that film and so many quotables.
I mean,
how you gonna get fired on your day off?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. There's so many, and again, Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Phenomenal actor, guys. I mean, this guy's done everything. Drama, comedy, like, he's all over the map, and just an outstanding actor that I don't think gets nearly enough credit either. So.
Oh, yeah, and writer. He wrote the Friday franchise.
He did.
And, like, so many others, so everybody should go check those out.
Yes.
I'm just saying, he's gonna cry in the car. Like, I don't even understand. Number 1 for me is my definition of a stoner flick. It's literally kind of in the name, and put a legendary actor, I don't know if you would call him legendary, but he's pretty awesome. Dazed and Confused. All right.
I mean, it made him legendary.
Literally.
It
really did. I mean, so many quotables from this one as well. It had one of the twins in it. I forget his name at the moment. But there's so many, like, going back to the 70s and, like, thinking about that life in high school. Teenage angst. Everybody knows I love the teenage angst. Just trying to figure out what you're going to do next in life. Because, I mean, that's kind of what we do on a daily freaking basis. But when you put it in a teenage film, it makes it all that much better, especially when you put some weed in there. So, yeah, number 1 for me goes to Dazed and Confused.
Thankfully, they didn't hang around J-Lo because, as we found out earlier in the show, he'd have turned him in.
Yeah.
He'd have law. You're breaking the law. I'm turning you in.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe not. My number 1 is the dude himself, the Big Lebowski, of course, Jeff Bridges and John Goodman. It's a case of mistaken identity when Lebowski is confused for the millionaire Lebowski by two thugs who piss on his rug, and all Lebowski wants is some restitution. He wants his rug paid for. And it turns into a fucking fiasco where his bowling buddies all help him out, trying to get his money back for his rug, and like he's got everybody chasing him. Fucking thugs, Russians, everybody. And it's got to be one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. And the epitome of, I think it's probably, in all doubt, Jeff Bridges' best role. I mean, the dude will forever be the dude.
For sure.
And I love John Goodman. That's a fucking, like, converted Jew hitman, basically.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he's fucking hilarious in it. It's a great film, guys. If you have not seen The Big Lebowski, what the fuck?
Right, my introduction to White Russians.
Yes, White Russians.
So freaking good. Well, you guys know that you have a freaking stoner number 1 film. We want to know about it. Please share
That's right.
to comment below in the comments section or add us on social media. Are you high right now? We want to know. So thank you. We appreciate it.
I know a lot of our listeners are. Don't lie.
Probably.
Don't lie.
Probably.
We see your Twitter feeds.
Yeah.
We see how often you mention weed and edibles. Don't lie.
Don't lie. Don't do it. Now heading over to the box office recap, like we talked about earlier in the show. Phenomenal week for Disney. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings brought in $94.6 million. Well deserved. Number 2 was Candyman. Still want to go see this one with $12.5 million. Free Guy came in at number 3 with $11.2 million. Paw Patrol the movie came in at number 4 with $5.3 million. And Jungle Cruise still hanging in there, cruising along with $5 million at the 5th spot. So that's freaking awesome.
Yes, guys. You heard that right. 3 out of the top 5, Disney.
Facts.
And Black Widow's still in the top 10.
Yeah.
So, and had it had the 45 days, it would still be in the top 5. I'm just saying. There's no doubt about it.
New movies that are coming out this weekend that you can go see right now. Malignant.
Please go see it because apparently nobody is.
Nobody is. It doesn't look interesting. The Card Counter, Queen's Pins, the Influence, and the Show Me the Father. Show Me the Father! No, it's not that.
No, it's not that.
Movies you can still go see. Shang-Chi, The Protege.
It's not good.
Respect, Old, and The Suicide Squad. There's some good stuff out right now, guys.
Yeah, man.
So be sure to head to your local theater and support the entertainment industry.
Do it.
Now, heading over to the IMDb Pro Top Trending segment. You guys know what it is. It's all about the Bible. Be sure to subscribe to the Bible. It's worth the $20 a month, especially when you're an up-and-comer trying to break into the entertainment industry, because all the knowledge you need is right there.
Or a legendary established casting director who referred to it in our interview.
Yeah.
Like, everybody uses it, guys. Everybody uses it.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. By no surprise, the top trending movie is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Phenomenal. Go see it. Top trending show is Clickbait with
Vinny
our
Chase.
boy Adrian.
Yeah, he's a killer. Or is he?
Or is
We
he?
don't know.
I know. It's very, very
You gotta
thrilling.
click to find out.
I'm so excited to watch that one.
Me too.
And by no surprise, the top trending star is the legendary Ed Asner, which, of course, because of his passing, always be remembered forever and always. Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much for getting crazy with us on episode 174 of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm. We got to thank our guest one more time, John Papsidera, for coming on the show. He's not on social media, so you can't follow him.
You can't do it.
But you can follow us on social media.
And we'll share all the goodness of John.
All of it. You guys know you can follow the podcast at ITCAFpodcast everywhere. The company at Crazy Ant Media. Myself at JLo Fantastic. And
Crazy Ant Guy 1970.
yes, sir. And you guys know you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more.
That is the first time you had a little hiccup there.
I know.
You normally just whip that off with like absolutely no problem at all.
I know.
I had to double take. I was like, wait, what?
Like, hold on. Is he good? Are we good?
It might be edibles.
It's the top 5.
We don't know.
It's the top 5. You guys know we have a YouTube channel. Put all of our content out there right now. So be sure to like this video that you're watching, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for all the latest and greatest notifications that we have coming to you, because you know that they're crazy. And, of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. Crazy Ant Media gear everywhere, guys. It's everywhere.
I felt like I was landing a plane.
Right. And you guys know, if you're following us, you know when promotional sales are happening.
Yes.
We're everywhere. And we have to also thank our new interns that are coming on
Yes.
board. Delana and Jessica.
Oh, my goodness.
They're going to be taking over next week, guys.
That's right. They're going to be taking over the social media and allowing us more time to do film stuff and the television stuff. And we are so thankful to have these young ladies on board. Both actors themselves, just getting started in their careers. So make sure you follow them. I'm pumped to have them join the team, man.
Agreed. But, man, it was a phenomenal freaking episode. We had so much fun. Of course, the interview. I mean, it's hard to top that interview. It was like nothing compares to it, in my opinion. It was so damn fun, so informative, talking about some like A-list actors, with A-list content, with an A-list director, with an A-list casting director, like, it really humbled me. And especially with him being so, like, up there and notable, that he was also still very humble and did his research on us. Like, that really hit home and made me feel special.
It did. And, I mean, yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, it was somebody of his stature to even take the time to inform himself about us, who are, I mean, we're working hard, but we're not there yet, right? And so for him to take that time, you know, and be able to give us some shout outs and you know, talk about our accolades, that's awesome.
Agreed.
And, I mean, kudos. Thank you so much, sir, for doing that. That was awesome.
Exactly. But of course, I mean, talking about Shang-Chi and the Eternals, I'm happy the Eternals are going to get a theatrical release. And with Shang-Chi being so popular at the box office and on all over the feeds and social media, it gives me more hope for the Eternals, Marvel introducing new characters with new storylines that will be different, because this wasn't the typical origin story we have seen before in the past with the Big Six. So I'm excited.
And kind of introduced the really far out fantasy side of the Marvel universe, right? So that does definitely give hope for the Eternals. I mean, I love all the superhero stuff. I love always talking about that, but I'm going to reiterate again and again and again. Chapek, do the fucking right thing.
Yep.
End the fucking lawsuit and give Scarlett Johansson the money.
Just saying.
She would have banked off of it had it been allowed to be in the fucking theaters. You know it. She knows it. The fans know it. The fucking theater chain owners know it. Everybody knows it. Just do the fucking right thing. Mm-hmm. If you want to save your fucking face at Disney and keep moving forward as CEO, do the right thing.
Just do the right thing. Just like
Dude,
Spike Lee said.
That's right. Like Spike Lee says, do the right thing.
Do the right thing. Oh my goodness.
You know who always does the right thing?
Every single time.
Oprah!